I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBN, we're uncovering a powerful and imaginative Christian fiction story that explores the untold journey behind one of the greatest moments in history, the birth of Jesus. The name of the book, We Three, Their Beginnings. It brings the three wise men to life, revealing their personal preparations, struggles, and faith long before they followed the star. It is written by a terrific author. His name is DerekMDrummond, and his inspiring novel reminds us that even when we don't yet see the full picture, God is weaving life into his eternal plan. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Derek, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
This is such a fascinating concept. How did you come up with the idea?
It was brought to me by my mom when she just became a new Christian and started asking me all kinds of questions. And literally, she asked, did baby Jesus cry? Did he make a mess in his diaper? I mean, things of that nature. And I started thinking, yeah, he was fully God, he was fully human.
Mhm.
And in doing so, I just started figuring that God planned that. He had the wise men come. And in having the wise men there, they had to start from somewhere.
Mhm.
And so at that point, I just started digging into the concept of their early life, what would bring them to uh, take charge of looking for the star, how they would do it, and how they would become friends and join together to travel the distance they did for this. So it started with my mom.
Yeah, well, mom gave you a good idea there.
Yes.
She spurred on some great creativity and imagination. How much of this is based on fact? How much of it's based on imagination?
Um, Great question. I'm trying to figure that it was probably about 60, 70 imagination. I try to use the facts of the Bible uh, uh, and its truth. I did some research, got some names. I went through the process of looking over the area and how they would have traveled, and I tried to bring that out in the book, like I explain a little bit about camels and why they would use a camel instead of a horse or a donkey or to travel the distance they did, things of that nature.
Absolutely. Um, are there historical texts beyond the Bible that analyze the lives of the three kings?
No, unfortunately, I couldn't find much on the three kings.
Mhm.
There was some on well, as you read, I base it on Daniel, which is
Mhm.
how they 500 years, 600 years prior to baby Jesus, uh, God had set things in motion by
Right.
taking Daniel to Babylon. And so I dug into some of that history and tried to build a story there for people to get an understanding of where it came from. And in digging through that, I found the cities and some names, and I couldn't find a lot on these particular three wise men other than their names.
Mhm.
Uh, So it was a lot of their true, what I've got in the book is truly out of my head, how they traveled to where they got there and
Yeah.
such.
Wonderful. So, from researching the times, looking at the Bible, and using your own wits, you piece together this story, which is quite a fascinating story. Give the folks at home a little bit of an overview of it.
Well, it starts out as, like I say, the three, Daniel and his process with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and being taken to Babylon.
Mhm.
And in his process, Daniel has to interpret the king's dreams. And in doing that, with guidance from God, he didn't interpret them himself, God gave him the interpretation.
Mhm.
He was granted the control over the wise men of the time who were kind of iffy and such. And so in that ability of him creating this sect of folks that would help. And it's the wise men, they would go to other rulers and spread their wisdom and help things grow and move through that. Over time, the 600 years, they kept focusing on the Bible of Daniel's time and the rules and the laws and the process that God set in motion
Mm.
to bring them to this baby Jesus, the signs, the things they were to look for. And it was finally these three come together at a point in Seneca. And in this point, they are, I liken the wise men and the magi as more of a college.
Mm.
In a sense, they taught younger folks coming up to be smart, be wise, use their intellect. And in doing so, they come across the star and make their trek from the far east uh, to Bethlehem,
Mhm.
and it's that process. I don't know if you know. I'm in a second book. I'm trying to finish it up now, but it's actually taking it feeds in some of their actual travel to tie into getting baby Jesus away from Herod.
Mm.
Is the second book, but it's the both books are the process of how they came together, where the Bible that Daniel and the God that Daniel worshipped and loved became their God,
Mm.
and they followed him.
Fascinating. Have you envisioned this book as a film?
Oh, many a time.
Yeah.
I've picked out actors in my mind and things in all kinds of different places. Uh, Watching it being filmed.
All right.
In fact, that was a big portion of how I could write it is I visualized what the scene was in a movie sense and then tried to express it that people could see it in that.
Yeah. And
I
to be a
didn't have a
fascinating ending, we know the ending. The wise
yeah,
men come upon Jesus.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Without a
Yeah, I don't
doubt.
have a huge my I went to college, went to high school, my grades weren't the best.
Yeah.
And so for me to sit down and write something, I don't think any of my English teachers would have gone, "Oh yeah, that's Derek. He's a writer." So I tried to keep it simple too. I tried to keep
Right.
the words smooth, the thoughts calm and easy to read. When people ask about it, I'm like, it's a great book to read over and over again to your kids.
Hmm.
In the sense that it's a story.
Yeah.
They can get into it,
Yeah.
understand it.
Absolutely. Anticipation is a theme in the book. Talk to us about why that's important.
Um, that mostly is to try to draw the idea that there's more to come in all that God does.
Mhm.
He This is a written out version of what he did. We couldn't see it all. We don't know exactly all that happened. However, in my life, he's done things that I never expected. To write a book.
Yeah.
He has worked in my family's life for my kids to become what they have become that they didn't realize that they were going to get to. And that's the anticipation that I'm trying to get across, that if we focus on the what we're doing in serving and being a part of what God has planned, God will move us to where we need to. A lot of times we just jump into
Mm.
things before we look at what God's trying to do. That's what the anticipation I'm trying to bring across is
Yeah.
trust in God. He's got a plan.
Absolutely. Who is your target audience for this book? As you mentioned, families and children would enjoy it, but I guess pretty much all ages who want a good story.
Yeah, I had a long discussion with my publisher, and she kept telling me that I needed to have a specific, and I thought it's tough to narrow this down because I want it open to everybody. Um, I probably would say young couples with new kids,
Hmm.
that age range, but it is open. I've had folks from church that are older than I am come back and just tell me how they loved it. It was they could get into it and they enjoyed it. And there were other teenagers that were like, it was cool to read,
Yeah. Yeah.
and to have a teenager say something's cool to read and it's not on their phone.
Right. Exactly. That's quite a compliment. It's also, when you think about it, the concept of three wise men or three kings coming to the birth of Jesus was always kind of mysterious to us as Christians. Heard about it in songs, you read about it in the Bible. But to actually have a backstory on these men, I think is quite a fascinating concept.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to get each one of them to have had a life before they actually became the wise men. Uh,
Mhm.
and so that's where I delve into each one coming from a different part of the world. Um, and in doing so, their experiences are coming in strong and different from each other, and they can use that to work with each other. I work with the other wise men, although the songs and the stories pretty much talk about three gifts. So we think three
Mhm.
wise men, or the song, the three we three kings, or the such. They couldn't have done the trip, I felt, by themselves. They had to
Mhm.
have had the entourage that came with them that I describe in the book.
Yeah.
And they are all in learning states, the entourage that's coming. And so it's a growing thing for them to have this history. I don't know you
Mhm.
till we met now,
Yep.
but you obviously learned to ride a bike. You
Right.
obviously learned to do sports.
Right.
And so for me not to know that you did that doesn't make you not able to do those things.
Right.
So that was why I tried to create something that was tangible,
Right.
um, and people could understand that, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
did grow up like that.
Yeah. Exactly. There's logical assumptions and leaps you can make when you just know somebody, even on the surface, or heard of them.
Right.
So yeah, that is quite fascinating. I don't know about me in sports. Sports never liked me much, which was a big disappointment. I'm a giant. I'm like 6'5", but sports didn't react to me too well. But other than that, you were right on the money. No, I'm only teasing. What message do you hope readers take away from the book? Is there something you hope sticks with them when they close that last page?
The main thing I was trying to point out was that the like you had talked about, the anticipation, the knowing that God has something planned for their lives,
Mm.
that they are not out there alone. Yes, we have family, but God has a plan to move each person through what is on in their lives. There are rough spots that we hit that help us be stronger to support other people. And so, in reading this, you have the different aspects of the different characters that have their problems.
Mm.
The uh, shepherds that they run into, they had their rough parts,
Mhm.
but it was the fact that they were part of what the process was that brought the wise men.
Mm.
And that brought out the idea that people can just trust that God is working, and not to just lose control over what's going on, or not keep control of what's going on when they're trying to understand what is going on.
Yeah.
That there is a God that is in charge, and he will help. We just have to lean on him.
Absolutely. I think Christian fiction like yours is powerful because it attracts an audience that might not necessarily ponder and reflect upon the significance of certain things in the Bible, such as the birth of Jesus beyond the birth of Jesus, but the entire historical context. And I guess that was one of your goals as well.
Yes, to understand that, like I said, what my mom had asked about, did baby Jesus cry? Did he poop?
Yeah.
Was he hungry? That, yeah, that
Right.
was part of being a human kid.
Yeah.
Did he fall down and skin his knee? I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
He didn't start out God and come to earth to just be perfect. That's
Right.
why he came as a baby.
Yeah.
So
And
Yeah,
that's what makes his sacrifice of his life so great, because he knew all of the joys that humans know in this life and don't want to surrender them, you know?
right.
So that's why I think it's
Yeah.
really, really wonderful and kind of creating a real personal relationship with the Lord. I think it's great. The name of the book is We Three, Their Beginnings. It's a beautifully imagined Christian fiction story that reveals how faith, purpose, and divine timing intersect in extraordinary ways. Derek, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine. I appreciate your time, your insight, your wonderful faith, and the great work on this book. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.